Hello, everybody. My name's Adam, and this is John here. And
How you
guys,
doing?
I can't wait to show you. It'll be a little bit later on. I want to go and show you his truck. Motherfucker has a big old, what is it, a Ram?
It's a Ford F-350
Oh, it is a Ford.
Super Duty with an 8-foot bed, and I built a truck camper on it because
No. He didn't just build a truck camper. He built a log cabin on the back of this, guys. And I'll show you here in the next little bit. We'll walk down there and check it out. But I just got a good idea. You know, John and me got talking the other night. He has an interesting ass story. I've met a lot of really cool, interesting people over the last 3 years of being a campground host, and I just kind of wanted to make a channel and introduce a few of these characters to you guys. You know, it's a lot of fun. It's the main reason why I do it. That and meeting people and seeing places, you know. So we figured we'd just get everything going. Hopefully you can hear us pretty good. This is our first video here. But yeah, John, you know, I wanted to just get all this going with him here. So who are you? Where are you from? What you doing with living out of a cabin in the back of your truck?
well, I'm John Pesaturo Sr.
What is it? John Pesaturo
John
Sr.?
Pesaturo Sr. It's right
Okay.
here on the shirt. American made from the finest Italian pots.
Okay, we'll have to talk about that a little bit. Just more and more.
And
That's
originally I was born in Massachusetts, and I spent a year as a baby in Malden, Mass, and then moved up to Tewksbury, Mass, and did my life till I was 18 years old. My dad died. My mother was forced to sell the house because she couldn't afford the mortgage payment.
cool. Sorry to
And-
interrupt you here, but your father passed away at 18.
Yeah, 20. I was
20?
20 years old. He was 52. It was 1980. He died October 30th. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Damn.
So you
That's
know,
tough for a
you're
young
ju-
guy.
yeah, just getting to know your dad, and he goes, and you know a little bit of the story prior to that. My brother
Oh yeah.
Jerome getting drafted by the Montreal Canadiens out of Tewksbury High School. It was the whole first line got drafted into the pros, and he didn't go because he was in love with his girlfriend, and then he spiral fractured his leg at a hockey accident at Frost Arena in Lawrence, Mass. And then the next summer his leg was healed up and he was ready to go, and he calls the Canadians and they said, "Well, you're damaged goods, we can't take it now."
That's
life's
a bitch.
Yeah, and then my dad says to
Fucking
me,
terrible.
he goes, "I'm going to ask your brother if he wants to play pro hockey, and if he don't, you're the next man up." So he asked my next oldest brother, and he said, "No, I'm just going to work my life." He said, "What about you, John? You want to play pro hockey?" He goes, "Absolutely. I'd rather do that than work. You know, that even though that is work, I'd rather do that for work."
Heck yeah.
And I was on my way to probably being on the Boston Bruins. My father had good connections with the Bruins. He used to party with the guys every night, and I played my youth hockey through Tewksbury. Even though I made my high school team, I didn't play for them because they want to make me a captain of the JV, and I don't do JV. I say, you know, put me on the varsity squad, or I just go back to play youth hockey in Tewksbury, which I did. Then after youth hockey was over, I turned 18. This is before my dad died. I go, "What next, Dad?" And he says, "You're going to play for the Tingsboro Huskies." At the time, they were a semi-pro team. Now they're a junior A team. I says, "Okay, but I got to try out." He goes,
Where are
"No."
they located at?
Tingsboro, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay, right, Mass.
Yep. And he goes, "Oh, no, you don't have to try out." He goes, "They already know about you." I goes, "Oh, okay."
Oh, thanks, Dad. I don't know if that's good or
So,
bad.
yeah. So I says, "Well, we'll see what happens." So I got called up to that team, and my first game was on a Thursday, and I only got like 3 shifts out of the whole game, and it was between the second and third period. And that's what it wasn't what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I was looking for a full-time, you know, a regular shift on a team, and play all the game. And so I told my dad I'm heading west. I'm going to Dakota or Wisconsin or somewhere out west to play hockey. I know I can play for anybody. And he says, "Oh, no, before you make a hasty move like that, call up the coaches and tell them what you think." I says, "Okay." I called them up. I said, "Listen, I can't show you what I can do in 3 shifts in the game." I goes, "Either I play on a regular shift on the first or second line, or I'm going west." And they said, "Oh, let us talk about it. We'll call you back tomorrow night. The next night they called me back and they said, you're on the second line, you're starting center, and you're playing a regular shift. I says, okay, I'll be ready. So like I told you, Adam, started the game, and you know, my dad always told me when I was young, if you can't skate backwards as good as you can skate forward, you'll never be a hockey player. So during warm-ups, you know, the guys skate around, both teams skate around the rink like 3 times, and they go to their ends and shoot on their goalies during warm-ups. I skated backwards the whole time, in between guys and stuff like that. Just showing my dad, hey, I took what you told me to do, and I learned it, and I can skate backwards just as good as frontwards. And so I could play with any team. I did that. Everyone's looking at me, you know, naturally. I mean, no one does that during warm-ups.
Yeah.
I was the first guy they ever seen do that. And the game started, and my line was starting the game. And I went over to all my teammates, and I said, listen, my 2 wings, I'm going to win the draw. I'm going to give it to our right D. He's going to dump it in the zone. Our right wing is going to get it back to the right D. He's going to take a slap shot, and I'll be in front of the net, tip it home. Well, how you know you're going to win the face-off? I know I'm going to win it because that's what I do. And so
I win face-offs.
Yeah.
I play hockey. That's what I do.
Yeah, so I did do that, and the right defenseman got it, dumped it into the right wing, and he banged it back to the right D, and I was in front of the net waiting for a tip, and I got cross-checked behind the upper shoulders, neck area, driven down the ice. So face first in the ice, and I see the linesman with his arm up for a penalty, and I look behind me as I get up, because the guy come from behind, he skated in that corner. Little did I know, that was the guy who I grew up with, who was a bully in town, and I'm not going to mention any names, because that's not what you do on video. But I went
watching you.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
And he goes like this, he's in the corner, he goes, come on. So I got my stick chops high, and I ran him right into the glass, and that was it. I got 14 minutes on my first shift in penalties, and he got 13. And I ended up with 45 minutes of penalties in the game, so I was only eligible to be on the ice for 15 minutes, and I was realistically only on the ice for 7 or 8. I got 2 goals and an assist, and we won the game 6-4 against the Little Chiefs.
Yeah,
So-
needed those 2 goals and assists.
Yep.
So what happened? You're this incredible hockey player, and
Yeah.
was it the injury? You just weren't
Yeah.
able to play anymore?
Yeah, I told you about the injury, right?
It's for the
So
video.
the injury didn't happen during the game.
Right.
After the game, I'm the last guy out of my locker. I took care of my equipment. I'm the last guy out of the locker room after the game, and I take care of my equipment, wipe my skates down and stuff, and dirty clothes bag for the socks and all the stuff that needs to be washed. And I come out of my locker room, my duffel bag and my stick on my shoulder, and I open the locker room door, and I guess as the locker room door was closing, there was someone behind it. And that was the guy that I got in that fight with in that game 3 times, who I beat up, but he got me good with a good right with a set of brass knuckles on. He knocked me to the ground, and just one shot. He gave me one shot, and he ran off, and I got knocked to the ground. I seen stars. I get up, and I feel liquid coming down my arm. I followed that up to a hole in my head, and I knew I was injured pretty bad.
Ooh.
And next thing I knew, I remember getting loaded in the ambulance. I sat in my father's front seat of his car. I had my own car there. I drove to the game. But he told me to sit down, and he wanted to see it. I said, Dad, you don't want to see it. Just call the ambulance. I need to go to the hospital. And I let my hand out of my head. I had my hand in my head this much. I let my hand out of my head. It covers the entire windshield with blood. Then he ran into the rink and called the ambulance. And they told me to put my hand back in my head, and I did. And when the ambulance got there, I was really fading. I lost a shitload of blood. But I was still awake, and as they pulled out of the Lowell Chiefs Arena, which is in Billerica, Mass., the old Billerica Forum, they turned right onto Route 3A to go to, I guess, St. Joe's. I lost consciousness, and I didn't wake up. They induced me in a coma wherever I went. Never got the full story because my parents didn't want to talk about it. but I woke up that May after I was induced into a coma to do whatever they did for my head, and I was basically taken home in a wheelchair and had to learn how to walk all over again. That was my hockey career down the drain.
It's fucking crazy. Why do you think that guy ended up doing that? Problems from high school, as being a kid, as a bully?
I embarrassed him in front of 5 or 6,000 fans. He was a big guy, big tough guy, and I was not a big guy, but I was stocky, but I got the better of him.
Yeah.
And the fans went wild, and he, you know, that's jealousy. He did something that was extreme after the game, which, you know, back then, you didn't call the police. You didn't do that. My father ended up messing up his father, putting him in the hospital, but that's how that went. Yeah. That's how we did things back then.
Yeah. So, hockey career, unfortunately, went gone.
Yeah.
Father passed away a couple years after that. What'd you start doing after your father passed away?
Well, I was a plumber by trade.
Okay.
I wasn't licensed. I was an apprentice. And right out of high school, I was 18, and my brother asked me to come work for him. He'll give me a $7 raise. I was making $3.10 an hour as an apprentice plumber. So I went to work for him, and he was a house painter, and he renovated houses, and that's what I did. I went to work for him, and
What year was this?
that was, I was 18, 1978.
Let the record show, in 1978, he was making $1.50 less than me right now for Vista Recreation.
$3.10 an hour.
Oh, I thought he gave you a $7 raise.
Yeah, and that made it $10.
Yeah, so
an
that's
hour.
what I'm saying. At 19, man, don't be a camp host in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Minimum wage is brutal up here. Go
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Yeah, it is.
I've learned so you don't have to.
But that was a big raise for me, so I
Hell
took
yeah,
it,
that's awesome.
and I learned construction and everything that he did, and after that, I started framing houses with another friend of mine, did siding with another friend of mine. I learned all the trades.
So
I
just
already
in general,
I already knew plumbing, so then I knew how to paint, side, roof, frame.
a modern day Renaissance man, you know, truly a jack of all trades. And that's why you were able to build this damn cabin in the back of your truck,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So what are you doing are you living in the cabin right now full time?
I'm living in it full time.
Heck
I've
yeah.
been in it for a week and a half now.
Week and a half?
Yeah.
What do you do for work?
Well, I'm retired, but I work part-time, 3-4 days a week as a landscaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Around here
for a
in this
buddy
area?
of mine, yeah,
Yeah,
for a buddy of mine, helping him out.
You
Yeah,
plan on long-term staying in the area or moving on?
yeah, I'm gonna stay.
Yeah.
I've been here for what? I've already been here for 44 years. I don't see myself leaving soon. I do have a 20.44 acre ranch in Texas that I could go to. And it's in Sierra Blanca, Texas. We're 45 minutes from El Paso.
Okay.
But, you know, it's going to cost me $600 in gas to get there. So I'm trying to make the winter here, see what the spring brings. Spring doesn't bring anything really astronomically viable for income. Then I may just head to my property down there and start building a little log cabin down there to stay in. And then come back up here in the summer and spend winters there.
What made you do the truck thing instead of
Oh,
getting
the truck thing.
apartment or-
So I was living with a guy up in Thornton here, and he goes, "Hey, I need to find another roommate. I'm losing my daughter's Social Security income. He was on disability, and he was losing his daughter's Social Security income because once she graduates high school, he doesn't get it anymore. And he goes, I need to find another roommate, and I found him a roommate, and that roommate eventually got me thrown out for no apparent reason. But I think she had either a son or a daughter that wanted to move into the other room next to her. So I was basically, you know,
lowest on the totem pole.
yeah. So I had a job over in, so I needed a place to stay. My friend was the hockey coach at Plymouth State University, and he was talking, and he says, hey, to his players, he's saying, hey, you want to spend the summer here? get a free apartment, all this stuff. No, you don't have to pay nothing, just work. So I go, hey, what about me? You know, I'm looking for a place. And he says, oh, and you serious? I go, yeah. So I end up working with him the summer there, and then once I knew I was going to move in with a friend of mine in Thornton, but that fell through, and I had already given my notice. Hence, that's why I'm here now. That's why I built the truck.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You're gonna end up popping up and open that High Life?
Yo, you betcha I am.
I don't want to be the only one out here.
You know, gotta have your refreshments, right?
Hey, check. Just because I use a different one every time.
Yeah.
This is the fish hippie. This is the fish hippie. We'll do a different one every single time.
Yeah.
It'll be nice.
And this is what I call a kit. Miller High Life, along with Dr. McGillicuddy's Butterscotch. That's my kit.
Alright.
Yeah, I tell you, sweet. It's nice, beautiful. Yeah.
So that's a hell of a hockey story.
Mm-hmm.
What's your mom doing nowadays? She still around? No. Mom passed
My
away.
mom passed away at age 86.
86.
Back in 2019 when the pandemic started. And she didn't die from COVID. She smoked cigarettes when she was younger.
Oh.
She had already quit for 35 years though, but that stuff, when you smoke cigarettes, that affects you when you get older. And she had COPD, and she couldn't breathe, and that's what happens. You know.
Same
so
thing
I
with
suggest anyone watching this video, don't smoke cigarettes.
Or if you do, keep going. It
Yeah.
seems like every time you quit is what ends up
Yeah.
getting you.
Just drink McGillicuddy's and Miller.
Have a
Have
couple
yourself
beers,
a Bud Light. And
a little green puff every now and then. You'll be all right, you know. So you
Yeah.
mentioned the other night, and this is just interesting because I've never met anybody. I know of two people that's ever wrote our national anthem, right? There's, what was it,
Francis Scott Key
Francis Scott Key
and John Stafford Smith.
and John Stafford Smith. The reason he knows these names off the top of his head is because he's the third. John Pesaturo Jr.
John Pesaturo Sr.
Senior. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
You're the senior?
Yep.
You got a son?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So you wrote your own national anthem. We
Yeah,
gotta hear this little story.
I
here.
was living in Old Orchard Beach, Maine.
Anybody here ever been to Old Orchard? That's a good spot.
My mom was having a tough time with her husband, which is my stepfather, without my real father, and I basically moved over there to make sure she was going to be okay, because, you know, things weren't going good between him and her. And I sat at the Beach Bagels restaurant.
Shout out for your Beach Bagel.
Yeah, which I frequented every morning after I did my bike ride. I'd go to Beach Bagels, ride my bike right down there and park it, and I would have my coffee and bagels, and my mom and stepdad would be there, and that's what we did every morning. Then I'd go to the beach and ride my bike up and down the beach, the hills like that, you know. And so one morning, my mom and stepdad weren't there, and I was talking to this guy who runs a car wash for his father. His father owns a couple car washes around town. And I'm just to myself. He's over at that table. I'm at this table, and I just open my notebook. I don't know why, but I just got this idea. You know, the first national anthem wasn't that great. John Stafford Smith's is all right. It's the one we use, but why not a new version? So I wrote a third version of our national anthem. I copyrighted it. 87.5% of the lyrics have to be different in order to get a copyright for something that's titled the same.
Yeah.
The Star Spangled Banner, which is the title of my national anthem, which is the title of Francis Scott Key's and John Stafford Smith's. And I also indicated in my copyright that I used John Stafford Smith's music with my lyrics,
Right.
because his copyright ran out after 150 years, so they incorporated that into my copyright so I can use his music.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
It took me almost a year to get that copyright because excuses. They lost it. They lost it twice on me. Finally, I talked to a supervisor named Michael Walls in the copyright office, and he got things straight, and he got it sent back to me, and kudos to him. You did the
Kudos
right
to
thing.
him. Honestly, if you still have that on like a disc drive or something,
Yeah. I have it in a hard copy paper.
hard copy paper.
Yeah.
You ever got it made up?
What do you mean?
Like, can you listen to it?
I recorded myself. Yeah.
Maybe if we can get it, we'll make it the song for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be pretty
I
cool.
recorded
right there.
myself in my basement singing it. The recording wasn't that great. It was okay though. It was all right.
Hey, look at this recording. It's
Yeah.
hanging from my awning right now. We'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah.
Another kind of cool thing that John was telling me is back when he was younger, he was going to Tennessee because I told him I was from Gatlinburg, Tennessee, right? Dolly Parton went to my high school,
Yeah.
and he was telling me that he went down to
Nashville.
for like an event, won a songwriting contest, but didn't have the money to get down there.
I didn't go at that time, but in 2003 I did go. I won the contest in 2008 from the New Hampshire Country Music Association. That was after I went in 2003. But in 2003, I had already had a CD out. It was produced by Hilltop Records. And I brought that CD, it had 3 songs on it. I brought that CD to Nashville. I went to Music Row and hit every record company on Music Row up and down Music Row. Left probably 18 copies of my CD there. And the last place I went to was NSAI. And then if anyone doesn't know what that means, it's Nashville Songwriters Association International. And at the time, I'm pretty sure Jeannie Seeley was working there. And I knocked on the door. I went in. I told her who I was. And she goes, yeah, we know about you from New Hampshire. I goes, how the hell you know about me? And she goes, we know about all country music guys. The word gets out quickly to Nashville. I'd like you to, and that at the time, see, when I recorded my CD, I wrote the lyrics, all my lyrics are on the CD. I couldn't get to California where it was being produced by Hilltop Records. So this guy named Cody Lyons filled in for me as a vocals fill-in.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, we love your songs, John, but we want your voice on that CD, not Cody's. Can you stay and record this tomorrow? I goes, I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I'm checking out of my hotel. And all my funds are up. I can't stay. But is the invitation open for any time that I want to come back to re-record this with my vocals in the song? She goes, absolutely. And that was when I was 43 years old. Now I'm 64, but you know what? Never say die.
Try to get back down there sometime?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Is the song still waiting on you?
What is they're my songs. I own them.
Yeah, I know.
The
So it's still
copyright.
waiting on you. Never
Yeah,
released.
Yeah. Oh, they were released. I released it to, WOKQ. They played it on the radio here in New Hampshire. I don't know if I got any play in Vermont because I don't listen to their stations. But it was distributed through the Northeast and through different record people that sell CDs and record stores. It was massively, sent to the stores and stuff by my record company.
Yeah.
But I got a few royalties from it, but not a whole lot. I probably got $100 from it, but it didn't sell a whole lot because no one knows about it. Because you don't know about a song until it gets on the top 40. Once you're on the top 40, you're selling CDs. And to get to the top 40, I feel like I don't know this for a fact. Someone gets paid off somewhere along the way.
You heard it here first, folks. We all knew the music industry was a scam.
Yeah.
Believe
And
it
I
to
just
John.
don't have the money to pay people off.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah. I don't know. We're at about 25 minutes or so.
Yeah.
You guys, you'll have to let me know in the comments if you want them longer, if you want them shorter, if you want them edited. Like I said, I'll probably throw in John's truck and maybe some more
Oh, you
spurts
got
and
to
some
show them
stuff
the
in
truck.
there.
The story's
And,
all about the truck. That's
But,
not something that was my life dream. It's something that I had to do because I had no place to live.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's
Yeah.
cool, you
Yeah.
know? So,
It's all wide for electric. you know, it's got drainage for sewer.
We'll do all
It's-
that when we get over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
We'll do all that when we get
Okay.
over there. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was pretty decent. We're right at 25 marks. Peace out, YouTube. You want to say bye, John?
Yeah. See you later. You guys all gotta watch this video.
Better.
Gotta make us famous.
Later, guys.
Bye.